In a world often filled with difficult news, stories of hardship and struggle can sometimes feel overwhelming. But every now and then, a story emerges that reminds us of the resilience of the human spirit and the possibility of change, even in the darkest of times. Today, a small but significant ray of light has just appeared in Venezuela, a country that has endured years of turmoil and uncertainty. For many, this moment feels like the first sign of a new dawn. On January 8, 2026, the government in Caracas made a surprising announcement. It would release a significant number of prisoners from its overcrowded jails. This decision, unexpected by many, has sparked conversations across the nation and beyond. This is not just a local story, it carries deep meaning for international relations, human rights, and the future of a nation in crisis. The world's eyes are now fixed on Venezuela, watching to see what comes next. For countless families, this news brings a fragile, yet powerful sense of hope. After years of separation, the possibility of reunion feels almost miraculous, and emotions are running high across the country. Venezuela has faced economic collapse, mass migration, and deep political divisions for over a decade. Daily life has been marked by shortages, uncertainty, and a constant struggle to get by. The issue of political prisoners has come to symbolize this division, with hundreds jailed for dissent, activism, or simply speaking out against the government. Their stories have become rallying cries for justice and reform. Now, the release is seen as a potential first step toward healing and dialogue. It offers a rare opportunity for both sides to come together and imagine a different future, one built on understanding and reconciliation. The world is watching closely to see if this promise will be kept and what it will mean for Venezuela's future. Will this gesture lead to lasting change, or is it just a fleeting moment of hope? Behind the headlines are real people, activists, journalists, students, whose freedom is a profound human triumph. Their stories remind us that even in the most challenging circumstances, hope can take root and inspire a nation to dream again. The news came suddenly, delivered by Jorge Rodríguez, head of Venezuela's National Assembly. He announced the release of a significant number of prisoners, framing it as a sovereign act for peace and unity. The announcement, broadcast nationwide, marked a dramatic shift for a government known for its hardline stance. The promise included both Venezuelan citizens and foreign nationals, though the exact number remained unclear. The timing was crucial. Venezuela was in the midst of political volatility and leadership change. For many, the announcement brought joy and relief, but also skepticism after years of broken promises. The nation now waits to see if the government's actions will match its words. Is this a genuine step toward opening political space, or a tactic to ease pressure and consolidate power? To truly grasp the significance and timing of the recent prisoner release, we need to rewind the clock and examine the extraordinary events that unfolded just days earlier. It was only a week ago that Venezuela, and the world, witnessed a dramatic turning point. In a stunning, meticulously planned operation, U.S. Special Forces descended on Caracas. Their target, former President Nicolás Maduro, whose decade-long rule had been marked by controversy, economic collapse, and international isolation. Maduro was swiftly apprehended and transported to New York, where he now faces serious federal drug trafficking charges. His wife, Celia Flores, a powerful political figure in her own right, was also detained, sending a clear message that no one was above the law. The news of their capture sent shockwaves through Venezuela. On the streets of Caracas, confusion and disbelief reigned. Headlines screamed of the unprecedented fall of a leader, and a sense of uncertainty gripped the nation. In the power vacuum that followed, Delcy Rodríguez, sister of influential politician Jorge Rodríguez, was sworn in as interim president. She moved quickly to consolidate her authority, rallying loyalists and seeking to restore order amid the chaos. The new government wasted no time. It granted sweeping emergency powers to the presidency and launched a crackdown on those suspected of supporting the U.S. raid, determined to stamp out dissent and reassert control. But the challenges were immense. Venezuela was already reeling from years of economic devastation, empty supermarket shelves, shuttered factories, and widespread unemployment. The leadership knew it had to act decisively to distance itself from Maduro's repressive legacy and restore some measure of stability. The decision to release prisoners was a direct response to this new reality. It was both a humanitarian gesture and a strategic move. an attempt to reduce mounting international pressure, signal a break from the past, and open new channels for negotiation with foreign governments. For many, it offered a glimmer of hope, a sign that the harshest policies of the previous regime might finally be coming to an end, and that reconciliation could be possible. Now, the world is watching closely, waiting to see if these bold moves will truly mark a turning point for Venezuela, or if deeper challenges still lie ahead. Venezuela's turmoil didn't start with Maduro's capture. It traces back to the disputed 2024 presidential election. Maduro claimed victory amid widespread allegations of fraud and voter intimidation. The opposition and international observers refused to recognize the results, plunging the country into deeper crisis. Protests erupted, met by a harsh government crackdown and mass arrests. Over 2,000 people were detained, including opposition leaders and ordinary citizens. Many were accused of fabricated crimes and held in notorious prisons like El Helicoide. The international community condemned the repression, highlighting Venezuela's authoritarian turn. The recent prisoner release must be seen in this context. Many freed were jailed during this post-election turmoil. Their release is a tacit acknowledgement of the deep wounds inflicted during that period. It's a small but significant step away from the politics of confrontation. As news of the release spread, the world learned the names of those walking free. Among the first, Rocio San Miguel, a security expert and human rights defender, and Enrique Marquez, a former presidential candidate. Biagio Pilieri, another opposition leader, was also released. Several foreign nationals, including 5 Spaniards, were freed, highlighting the international dimension. Spain's foreign minister called it a positive step, signaling hopes for improved relations. Yet, these releases represent only a fraction of Venezuela's political prisoners. Human rights groups continue to demand the release of all detainees. The freedom of a few is a reminder of the many still waiting for justice. The announcement brought hope, but also anxiety for families of those still detained. Relatives gathered outside prisons like El Helicoide, clutching photos and waiting for news. For many, the wait has lasted months or years, filled with uncertainty and fear. The lack of official lists left families in suspense, relying on rumors and social media for updates. The scenes were emotional, mothers weeping, families sharing stories of missed milestones. The process was opaque, prolonging suffering for hundreds. The government's promise, while welcome, left many in painful limbo. This vigil is a stark reminder of the human cost of political repression. The struggle for peace and justice is deeply personal for these families. The prisoner release sparked mixed reactions inside and outside Venezuela. Some see it as a genuine gesture toward peace and national reconciliation. Supporters hope it signals a willingness to de-escalate conflict and open dialogue. International observers, like Spain's foreign minister, cautiously welcomed the move. Yet, skepticism runs deep. Critics warn it could be a calculated ploy for legitimacy and relief from sanctions. Venezuela has used prisoner releases as bargaining chips before. Human rights groups demand transparency and the release of all political prisoners. Alfredo Romero of Penal Forum called the news good, but urged careful verification. The discrepancy between foreign and Venezuelan releases fuels doubts about the government's intentions. Until all are free, vigilance and pressure remain essential. The release of some prisoners is positive, but Venezuela's human rights crisis runs deep. Organizations like Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International have documented systematic abuse and arbitrary detention. As of December 2025, 863 people were held for political reasons, including 86 foreign nationals. Prison conditions are dire, overcrowding, lack of medical care, and reports of torture are common. Many are denied access to lawyers and families, violating both Venezuelan and international law. Human rights groups insist the real goal is the unconditional release of all political prisoners. They also demand an end to arbitrary detention and accountability for abuses. True progress will be measured by dismantling the system of repression, not just by a handful of releases. Venezuela stands at a crossroads after this surprising announcement, with the nation holding its breath and the world watching closely. The atmosphere is charged with both uncertainty and cautious optimism, as citizens wonder what the future may hold. The release of political prisoners has opened a small window of hope for a nation long starved of good news. For many families, these reunions are bittersweet, joyful, yet shadowed by the knowledge that many others remain behind bars. The emotional scenes outside prison gates reflect the deep yearning for justice and healing. There's a chance, however slim, for a new chapter based on dialogue and reconciliation. Political leaders now face a critical test. Can they set aside old grievances and work together for the greater good? The path forward demands courage, compromise, and a willingness to listen to voices long silenced. The international community must engage constructively while insisting on clear benchmarks for progress. Global partners have a responsibility to support Venezuela's fragile transition, offering guidance and resources, but also holding leaders accountable to their promises. The focus on human rights must remain relentless. Skepticism ensures peace is genuine and lasting. Activists and ordinary citizens alike must keep demanding transparency and justice, so that reforms are not just symbolic gestures, but real steps toward freedom. Organizations like Penal Forum must be supported in verifying every release. Their tireless work is essential to ensure that no one is forgotten and that the government's commitments are more than just words on paper. Pressure must continue until all unjustly detained are free. The voices of the people, raised in protest and solidarity, are a powerful force for change and a reminder that the struggle for justice is far from over. The future rests in the hands of the Venezuelan people, who must put the nation above political divisions. Only through unity and participation can Venezuela build a society where everyone's rights are respected and protected. The journey will be difficult, but the dream of a united, free Venezuela endures. Each new day brings a chance to move closer to that vision, fueled by the resilience and hope of its people. The world watches, hoping this glimmer of light grows into a new dawn for the nation. Venezuela's story is still being written, and its people remain determined to shape a future defined by peace, dignity, and unity.